Hi everybody, welcome to the big preview. It's Everton this weekend, coming to St James's Park. I'm joined by Sam. Sam, how are you doing?
Good, looking forward to the game on Sunday. Top of the table coming to St James's. What could possibly go wrong?
I don't need saving. Could you leave me alone?
Before we crack on with the preview, we've got two mini announcements to make. Is that we've totally revamped the website. I've grafted hard at this. I think it needed it. It needed a bit of a freshness to it. Looks a lot more slick. And if you want to write for us, get in touch with us. I've done an article in the last couple of days. Sam's got one coming up. Stephen's done one as well. So have a look at our website. It tells you everything about us, who we've worked with, what we can offer you, and so on and so on. And the second one, Sam, is you've got a little competition running. Tell me about it.
Yeah, we've got a cracking competition on our Twitter page at Newcastle Fans TV. Commentary legend Clive Tilsley and Commentary Chart have given us a fantastic prize to give away. It's an A3 framed Newcastle 5, Man United 0 from October 96. Head on over to our Twitter page, find the post, follow us at Newcastle Fans TV, retweet the post. You're in the competition, and that's running until 5 p.m. on Sunday, the 8th of November. The business, honestly, it's sat in my kitchen at the minute. I don't want to give it away, but but we are. It's happening. So yeah, you've got till Sunday the 8th, 5 p.m, and then the winner gets announced the next day.
So get yourselves involved in it. A free competition. What can you lose? Nothing. Let's get on with today's video, which you've all tuned in for. It is the Pickford Show, as I'm going to call it. Sam, normally, you've seen it a couple of years ago, Pickford was all over the place when there was a crowd there, and his form is erratic at the moment. He's making mistake after mistake, and obviously we've seen very, very documented the wild challenge on Virgil van Dijk, which has ruled him out for the season. Obviously, he was involved in England, partially at fault for England's conceding against Denmark with the penalty. For me, this is the weakness. And yes, he's a Mackham, we can all laugh at him, but surely Bruce will be in there saying to the players, look, this lad's all over the place.
You've got to put him under as much pressure as possible. I mean, his goalkeeping style at the moment reminds me of a kid that's dizzy on lemonade, that's had too much sugar. He's just too hyper in places and just needs to, if anything, just tone it down and just calm himself down a little bit. But he can crack on and make all the mistakes in the world he wants to on Sunday. It's very erratic, like you say, and it needs to be taken. Advantage of, because otherwise the Everton defence is there to be taken advantage of. No Digne at left back, no Richarlison up the other end of the pitch as well. They're both suspended. So Everton have started the season ever so well, haven't they? Up until last weekend at Southampton. It's a game where we need to get our home form back on track. So this would be perfect and really punish Pickford.
Yeah, and it's a shame that the crowd aren't there, because they would have wound him up, and he's playing in an empty stadium, which he'll probably enjoy more than rather getting hurled abuse. I mean, who wants abuse thrown at them? Nobody. But yeah, Pickford is the weak spot in this Everton side. Quite clearly, he's erratic at the minute, as we'll touch upon. But you look at Everton's form, obviously they have started fantastically well, and they've got a world-class manager in Ancelotti, but last two games, they've only picked up a point from the last two. So maybe a little bit of dip in form, but they've got quality all around. Allen looks assured. He looks a brilliant signing for them in midfield. But the form, Sam, of Calvert-Lewin, for me, I've been shouting on my own personal Twitter, you need to be in that England squad. And he's red hot. He's the best striker in the league currently. And he is the one you've got to stop the supply going to.
Yeah, and the supply is in full flow with James Rodriguez, isn't it? They've got a fantastic side, as you say, world-class manager that you would never have thought would go to Everton in a million years. Kind of similarity to us having Rafa back in the day. But yeah, they're full of talent, full of pace, full of energy. Calvert-Lewin, superb in the international fold. Callum Wilson's going to be wanting to show him up because they're battling for a place in the national side. It should be full of entertainment, this game. But knowing how Steve Bruce sets up and how we're playing at the moment, maybe not.
Yeah, you talk about Bruce, obviously the threat with Everton. Do you think Bruce is more worried about Everton than he is about us, focus on us? He's going to set up to play similar against like Wolves. It was a case of let's play against them rather than play for us.
I think Bruce would be looking at last week going, yeah, that system worked. I'm not sure it did completely. Maybe with some slightly different personnel in there, it might do. Obviously, there was a bit of an injury crisis in centre midfield. Obviously, we're hoping to have Hayden back, who didn't feature at Wolverhampton. So he'll be a massive plus because you don't want to be playing the likes of Fraser in there. He's a creative winger, isn't he? He's a real threat on that wing. He shouldn't be stuck away in the centre of the park. Hopefully we can be a little bit more adventurous because we're going to have to be. But I'll be amazed if Bruce switches the formation that he used last week. I don't know. What do you think? Because the squad just looks like it's set up for 4-2-3-1, but you can never really second guess his tactics lately, can you?
No, you can't, because he keeps changing the formation, and I'll be surprised if he actually changes out of the wing-back system, because obviously I've touched upon it, and this is another plug for the website. I wrote about the article about the right-back position, and Jacob Murphy's just literally come in and playing a wing-back role, and he was man of the match last week for us, rightly so, scored a goal, and he's been working hard, and he got his chance, he took it. It's a massive area problem for Newcastle, and it's been that way for me since Debussy left. There's no one really mantling themselves down as first choice. You thought Manquillo might be that person, but he's sat on the bench the last two, and Kraft's got ahead of him, and now Jacob Murphy. I don't think Bruce is going to change. I think he will play to set up against Everton rather than focus on our strengths.
Let's get your opinion on this then, because I mentioned this in the post-match videos after Wolves. So you got 3 right-backs that you wrote about in your article on NewcastleFansTV.com. You don't sell Yedlin, and he takes a place in the 25-man squad at the expense of, arguably, Dan Barlaser, who would have slotted in lovely in that centre midfield at Wolves, allowing us to play Fraser on the wing where he's much more comfortable. I think that's a bit of a... I don't know what that tells them 3 right-backs when you've then got Jacob Murphy, who did fantastic. And I agree, Bruce will keep that because Jacob Murphy's undroppable after last week. But do you not think he's just dropped a bit of a clanger and not really thought it through and should have maybe really... I mean, it's Yedlin, isn't it? He's third choice right-back in essence now. He was the one that was rumoured to go. Do you not think he's dropped a bit of a clanger there in keeping 3 right-backs that he's not even playing?
Possibly, we might be thinking that Manquillo can fill over that left with Richie being injured. That might be one reason. But you know what I feel about Dan Barlaser. I should have been in that 25-man squad as the last resort because the Longstaffs are very injury-prone currently at the minute, the last 6 months. Obviously, Sean will come into midfield, possibly. That might be a benefit to move Fraser further up. And you might want to say the Magic Fours, I call them, which is ESM, Almira and Fraser and Wilson all start, and that'll allow them to play in the natural position. But with the wing-back system, I find that a little bit tough. I don't think Bruce will do that. He loves Hendrick, and Hendrick had a great start, but Hendrick, for me, hasn't impressed me massively. So, yes, he's a squad player, Hendrick, where he'll come in and do a dirty job for you, but...
He's a squad player, but he's started every Premier League game so far this season.
But he's not creative enough for me going forward to get you goals, and we're lacking goals. I know Wilson's got forward, don't get me wrong, but who else is chipping in? You're relying on then ESM heavily to provide, because we know ESM's going to be a star threat. But in going back to your terms of your question earlier on, because I've gone a little bit off trail, I do think Barlaser should have been in there. I've said that for a long, long time, not because he's obviously sentimental value, nothing like that. I just think he's an alternative to what Shelby can bring. We'll lack creativity massively in centre midfield. We haven't got no one who's creative in centre midfield. We've got no one who can burst through. We've got no one except Shelby, Barlaser, who can spring a pass. So it's heavily reliant to go out wide and for those guys to produce, and that's extra pressure on them. And then the wing-back system might allow you to have a bit of creativity in midfield, but we haven't got no one there. So it's a tough one, but I think Bruce will go with the wing-backs, and I think he probably will surprise 1 or 2 changes again.
I would like to see Hendrick getting taken out of this game, to be honest. I know Shelby's injured, but maybe, obviously, we want Hayden back in there because I think we all agree he's first choice. Maybe
Hayden and Sean.
Yeah, I would say so. I want to see Sean get a proper run out. Just because I think, as you say, Hendrick should be a squad player, and he's struggled the last couple of games.
When we played 4 at the back, he has played out on the right 3 times, hasn't he? So it's not all his fault, but for creativity, he's got nothing. If you want to hold on to 1-0 lead, fantastic. There's your man. But going forward, no, not for me. And Jeff Hendrick, he's free. It's great. Look, I'd rather have him and Bentley, of course. But yeah, you're starting too many games for me, and it's showing a little bit now. Fans are picking up on it. But we're going to approach the game, I feel, Sam, is that it's going to be very similar to Wolves. I think Everton will have a lot of the ball. And it's going to be frustrating to watch. And Kieran Dyer called we're boring, and I have to agree with that. We're not nice on the eye. We haven't been for a long time, to be fair. But I think Everton are going to boss the game in terms of possession, and we're the home side, but we're going to act like we're away side.
Yeah, I think you're right there. No, we haven't been that exciting since we returned to the Premier League, really, have we? There's been the odd occasion, the odd good game, the odd thrilling game here and there. One of which was the comeback against Everton, the 3-2.
And the 2-2?
Yes. Yeah, well, that game was still horrendous, though, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was shocking to watch. Don't know how we got away from Goodison celebrating wild there.
So, I mean, 95 minutes of the 97 was absolutely woeful, but thankfully Florian Lejeune was around. But, yeah, I think you're right. We'll set up like the away team, wing-back system. They're a dangerous side, Everton. Look how they've started. They're just completely different team to the one that finished last season. Some real good investment there, some real creativity in midfield. I mean, even with the likes of Sigurdsson, who's been with there a good few years now, and they've added that with Allen and Decore. They've got real strength in depth, and they're a real danger to the top six this season, aren't they?
Yeah, let's put the next on the line then. I'm going to go, I don't think Everton will win it. I don't think we will. I'm going to go 1-1 once again. Everton a little bit dip in form. I think I'll continue. Maybe we can target their left back because obviously they're out of position there. But yeah, I think it'll go 1-1. But I do think Everton will dominate the possession. What are you going with, Sam?
1 hour later.
A draw, and that is being optimistic.
And I think Bruce will be delighted with a draw as well, and that's the disappointing thing.
I think most of us would take a draw, though. That's the thing. That's the sad thing these days. Matt made a great point in the. When I was talking to him just before we did the group reaction last week. You took a point before the game, and that's the sad reality of it.
Yeah, and it's a shame because 13 years ago that'll be demanding a win.
Oh,
but that's a topic for another day. Obviously, before the takeover carry on as well, that's for another video. We won't be doing a video unless it's actually more concrete on that. But if you want to keep up to date and you don't like going onto Facebook or going onto Twitter or going onto YouTube or going on Instagram, get on the Flick app. Flick app gets you everything put into one: polls, quizzes, debates. Get on amongst it. It's free to download, free to use. There's no ads on it, so why not have a look at that? But that is it. We'll be back in a couple of days with all the videos. Sam's not in them because he's currently working. Unlucky son.
Yeah, working on Sunday.
And we are changing it up a little bit. I'm not going to be doing the last word. Johnny is, and I'm going to be in one of the main two first videos as well, just to mix it up, different presenting, so it doesn't go stale first. But we shall see you on Sunday, everyone. And stay tuned also, I forgot to mention this, over on NFTV Extra for Carl's live stream with Adam and guests. So stay tuned for that. Take care, everyone. Watch what you're doing. Bye-bye.